Have you ever noticed something strange? The person who ruins your life the most isn't your enemy. It isn't the economy. It isn't bad luck. Most of the time, it's the version of you who says, I'll do it tomorrow. And the person who suffers, not today's you. It's tomorrow's you. Imagine this. Every morning, your future self wakes up and waits for a package from you. Sometimes you send confidence. Sometimes you send strength. Sometimes you send peace. But on most days, you send unfinished work, broken promises, excuses, and regret. Your future self never gets to choose what arrives. They only open the package that today's you prepared. Now ask yourself, if someone treated the person you love the way you treat your future self, would you accept it? Probably not. Then why do we do it to ourselves? Because we've misunderstood discipline. We've been taught that discipline is punishment. Wake up early, work harder, stop having fun, sacrifice everything. As if discipline is a prison built to make life miserable. But that's not what discipline really is. Discipline is love. It's one version of you taking care of another version of you. Think about the parents who wake up before sunrise to prepare breakfast for their children. The child never sees the sacrifice. They only feel the love. Discipline works the same way. When you choose to study instead of scrolling, you are preparing breakfast for your future. When you exercise, even when your body feels lazy, you're protecting someone you'll become months from now. When you save money instead of wasting it, you're giving security to a stranger who happens to be you. Real love isn't always comfortable. Sometimes love says no. Sometimes love sets boundaries. Sometimes love chooses long-term happiness over short-term pleasure. That's exactly what discipline does. There was once a young sculptor who dreamed of creating masterpieces. Every day he walked through the city, admiring beautiful statues carved from stone. He asked an old master, "How do you create something so perfect?" The old man smiled and pointed toward a giant block of marble. "I don't create the statue. I simply remove everything that doesn't belong." The young man was confused. Weeks passed. Months passed. Every morning before sunrise, the old sculptor returned. One hammer strike, another. Thousands of tiny strikes that looked meaningless. People laughed. "You're barely making progress." Some days it looked like nothing had changed. But the old man never argued. He simply kept carving. 1 year later, the marble revealed a breathtaking statue. People called it genius. They praised the final result. No one celebrated the thousands of invisible strikes. Success is exactly like that statue. Your life is already carrying the masterpiece inside it. Discipline isn't about adding more to yourself. It's about removing what doesn't belong. Remove distraction. Remove excuses. Remove inconsistency. Remove the habit of quitting. Little by little, the real you appears. Here's the truth most people never hear. Motivation makes you feel powerful. Discipline makes you become powerful. Motivation says, I'll work when I feel inspired. Not discipline whispers, I'll work because I made a promise. Promises define character. Anyone can make promises when life feels easy. Character is revealed when nobody is watching. When your alarm rings at 5 in the morning, nobody claps. When you choose the book over another hour of social media, nobody notices. When you practice your craft after a 10-hour workday, nobody gives you a medal, but someone notices, your future self. Every disciplined decision becomes another brick in the house they'll someday live in. Imagine hiring a builder to construct your dream home. Every day the builder skips work, uses cheap materials, leaves walls unfinished, makes excuses. Would you trust them? Of course not. Yet every excuse you make is another weak brick in the house your future self must live inside. Discipline means becoming a builder your future can trust. And trust is built through repetition, not perfection. Many people fail because they think discipline means never making mistakes. That's impossible. The strongest people aren't those who never fall. They're the ones who return quickly. Miss one workout, go tomorrow. Miss one chapter, read the next day. Have one bad week, start again. Discipline doesn't demand perfection, it demands honesty. Every sunrise offers another chance to keep your promise. Deep focus begins where distraction ends. The world profits from your divided attention. Every notification competes for your dreams. Every endless scroll quietly steals another hour you'll never get back. Attention is life. Where your attention goes, your future follows. Imagine carrying a magnifying glass beneath the sun. When sunlight is scattered, it only warms the ground. But when every ray meets one tiny point, it creates fire. Your mind works exactly the same way. Scattered attention creates average results. Focused attention creates extraordinary lives. Mastery isn't built through intensity. It's built through consistency. A river doesn't carve through mountains because it's powerful. It carves through mountains because it never stops flowing. Your daily habits become rivers. Every page you read, every workout you complete, every difficult conversation you refuse to avoid, every promise you keep. Each one seems small, but years later, you'll discover they carved an entirely different person. One evening, an elderly man sat beside his grandson watching the sunset. The boy asked, "Grandpa, when did you become successful?" The old man smiled. "I wasn't successful in a day. I simply stopped breaking promises to myself." Those words stayed with the boy forever. Because that's the secret. Your confidence isn't built by positive thinking, it's built by evidence. Every time you do what you said you'd do, you collect proof. Proof that you're reliable, proof that you're capable, proof that you can trust yourself, and self-trust changes everything. Eventually, discipline becomes effortless, not because the work gets easier, but because keeping your word becomes part of your identity. You no longer ask, "Do I feel like doing this?" You ask, "Who am I becoming?" Every decision answers that question. Every habit writes another sentence in the story of your life. The future isn't created by giant moments. It's created by ordinary mornings, quiet evenings, invisible choices, and promises nobody else hears. So tomorrow morning, when your alarm rings, remember this. That sound isn't interrupting your sleep. It's your future self knocking on the door. They're asking for your help, not your excuses, not your intentions, your actions, because discipline was never about punishment. It was never about suffering. It was never about proving yourself to the world. Discipline is the purest form of self-respect. It's the quiet decision to protect someone who cannot speak for themselves yet, the person you're becoming. And every time you choose what is right over what is easy, every time you focus instead of drifting, every time you keep one more promise, you whisper the most powerful words a person can ever say to themselves. "I love you enough to build the life you deserve." That is the true language of discipline.